Hello student, my name is Dr. Sagar and I have started this lecture series on important calculations of biostatistics of Pharm final year semester 8. In this lecture series, till now, I have taken three lectures in which first lecture was dedicated on statistics and data sets. Second lecture was measures of central tendency and it was focused on mean. Second lecture was measures of central tendency, which was focused on calculation of median. And today we will start fourth lecture of this lecture series, which will be focused on mode, which is the last part of measures of central tendency. So as we have seen in our second and third lecture about measures of central tendency, it is a statistical tool which is used to summarize or represent the whole data by one value, in which till now we have seen mean, median, and in today's lecture we are going to focus on mode. So what is mode? Mode is the most popular observation which is which has the highest frequency, or in other words we can say that mode is that observation which is repeated most time. जी ऑब्झर्वेशन किंवा जी व्हॅल्यू खूप वेळेस रिपीट झालेली असेल किंवा ज्या ऑब्झर्वेशनची फ्रिक्वेन्सी सर्वात जास्त असेल त्याला आपण मोड असं म्हणू शकतो. Similar to previous tools like mean and median, in mode also we have to see these three types of problems, which are only observation types of problem, observation and frequencies types of problem, and classes and frequency types of problem. In short, we can say data set 1, data set 2, and data set 3. I will recommend to watch lecture number 1 to understand in detail about data sets. So let's start with first type of problems or first type of data set, that is only observation. How to calculate mode when data set 1 means only observations are given. That is very simple. So for data set 1, as we have seen in the definition of mode, mode is nothing but most popular observation or that observation which is repeated most time. ज्यावेळेस तुम्हाला फक्त व्हॅल्यूज दिले असतील, ओनली ऑब्झर्वेशन्स दिलेले असतील, इन दॅट केस इट इज व्हेरी सिम्पल. एक एक्झाम्पल पाहूयात आपण. ज्याप्रमाणे या ठिकाणी या काही व्हॅल्यूज दिलेल्या आहेत, या व्हॅल्यूजचा यूज करून आपल्याला जर मोड फाइंड आउट करायचा असेल, so it is very easy. What is our definition is saying? It is saying that mode is nothing but observation which is repeated most time. So we can say that in these in this example the value or the observation which is 2, it is repeated most number of times. That is, it is repeated 4 times. या दिलेले जे काय एक्झाम्पल आहे, या दिलेल्या एक्झाम्पलमध्ये जेवढ्या काय व्हॅल्यूज आहेत, त्या व्हॅल्यूमध्ये 2 ही जी काय व्हॅल्यू आहे, ती बाकी सर्व व्हॅल्यूजपेक्षा जास्त वेळेस रिपीट झालेली आहे. 4 times it is repeated. That's why for this example, 2 is our mode. It is simplest calculation. When only observations are given, you just have to look for that observation which is repeated for the most number of time in that given data. That is simple calculation. In this example, 4 is repeated, sorry, 2 is repeated 4 times. That's why for this example, 2 is our mode. Simple. In case of dataset 2, also it is very simple calculation. As per the definition, mode is that observation or that value which is repeated most time, or the mode is that value which has the highest frequency. So in dataset 2, we get the data in form of observation and frequency. Just like this. Here observation and its respective frequencies are given. So first observation is 10, its frequency is 4. Second observation is 12, its frequency is 8. Likewise, observation and frequencies are given. Simply the observation or value which has the highest frequency, that observation is our mode. So in this case, the second number of observation, that is 12, it has the highest frequency amongst the all. बाकीच्यांपेक्षा या जो सेकंड नंबरचा ऑब्झर्वेशन आहे जे की 12 आहे, याची फ्रिक्वेन्सी ही बाकी सर्वांपेक्षा जास्त आहे, 8 आहे. That's why in this example 12 is our mode. It is simple as that. In given observation and frequency type of data, हा जो का डेटा सेट 2 आहे, यामध्ये ज्या ऑब्झर्वेशनची फ्रिक्वेन्सी ही सगळ्यात जास्त असेल, जसं की या केसमध्ये सेकंड नंबरचं ऑब्झर्वेशन जे की 12 आहे, त्याची फ्रिक्वेन्सी 8 आहे, जी की सगळ्यात जास्त आहे. त्यामुळे या एक्झाम्पलच्या केसमध्ये mode is 12. In this case, mode is 12. So first and second calculation of mode means for dataset 1 and dataset 2. That is, dataset 1 only observation and dataset 2 observation and frequency. These two calculations are very simple. Okay. So now we will see third type of problem, that is dataset 3. In dataset 3, there are classes and frequencies type of data. In this case, we have to use this formula, that is mode is equal to L1 plus in bracket F1 minus F0 divided by 2F1 minus F0 minus F2 into I. We have to use this formula for calculation of mode when classes and frequencies are given. In this formula, L1 is lower limit of modal class, F1 is frequency of modal class, F0 is frequency of class which is just previous to modal class, F2 is frequency of class which is just after the modal class, and I is class interval of modal class. We will see details step by step for calculating the mode when class and frequencies are given. So for calculating mode for dataset 3, that is class and frequency. First step is we have to find the model class. First step of class will model class find करना. And it is very simple. How to find that model class? Model class is that class which has the highest frequency. ज्या क्लासची फ्रिक्वेन्सी ही सर्वात जास्त असेल तो असेल आपला मॉडेल क्लास. सिंपल. सेकंड स्टेप, लोअर लिमिट ऑफ मॉडेल क्लास इज L1. जे मॉडेल क्लास आपण सिलेक्ट केलेला आहे त्या मॉडेल क्लासची जी काय लोवेस्ट लिमिट असेल, लोअर लिमिट असेल, दॅट विल बी युअर L1. देन व्हॉट इज F1, F2 अँड F0 हेच या ठिकाणी दिलेलं आहे. F1 is frequency of model class, F0 is frequency of class which is just previous to model class, F2 is frequency of class just after the model class. F1 म्हणजे जो मॉडेल क्लास आपण सिलेक्ट केलेला आहे त्याची फ्रिक्वेन्सी, F0 म्हणजे जो मॉडेल क्लास सिलेक्ट केलेला आहे त्याच्या जस्ट आधीचा जो काही क्लास असेल त्याची फ्रिक्वेन्सी, अँड F2 मीन्स जो मॉडेल क्लास आहे त्याच्या जस्ट नंतरचा जो काही क्लास असेल त्याची फ्रिक्वेन्सी. I इज नथिंग बट जो काही मॉडेल क्लास असेल त्या क्लासची क्लास इंटरवल. ओके, या सर्व व्हॅल्यूज भेटल्यानंतर मीन्स L1, F1, F0, F2 अँड I या सर्व व्हॅल्यूज आपल्याला समजल्यानंतर we just have to put all those value in this formula of mode, that is L1 plus bracket F1 minus F0 divided by 2F1 minus F0 minus F2 into I. We just have to put all those value in this formula to calculate our final mode. So we will see one example. Here's the example in which class and their respective frequencies are given. So we will solve this problem step by step. So first step is to find the model class. So finding model class is very simple. You just have to look for that class which has the highest frequency. So in this case, this 40, 10 to 14, this third number of class, it has the highest frequency, that is 17. That's why we should select this as a model class. Okay, so 10 to 14 is our model class. Lower limit of this model class, that is 10 to 14, is 10. That's why L1 is 10. Now F1 means frequency of model class. जो आपला model class असेल जो आपण सिलेक्ट केलेला आहे त्याची फ्रिक्वेन्सी म्हणजे F1. F0 is frequency of class just previous to model class. F0 म्हणजे जो आपला मॉडेल क्लास असेल त्या मॉडेल क्लासच्या आधीचा जो काही क्लास आहे, जसं की या केसमध्ये तो आहे 6 to 10, त्याची फ्रिक्वेन्सी जी की आहे 4. F2 means F2 is frequency of class just after the model class. जो आपला मॉडेल क्लास आहे त्याच्यानंतरचा जो काही क्लास असेल, जसं की या केसमध्ये तो आहे 14 to 18, त्याची फ्रिक्वेन्सी जी आहे 11. Okay, so until now we have got 4 values. L1, that is 10, lower limit of model class. F1, that is frequency of model class, which is 17. F0, which is frequency of just previous to model class, that is 4. Then F2, which is the frequency of class just after the model class, that is 11. And finally, I is class interval model class. मॉडेल क्लास जो आहे त्या मॉडेल क्लासचे क्लास इंटरवल मॉडेल क्लास आपला आहे 10 to 14. That's why class interval is 4. So now we just have to put all these value L1, F1, F0, F2 and I, that is class interval, in our given formula. So formula, in this formula we just have to put all those values. So L1 10, F1 17, F0 4, F1 17, F0 4 and F2 12 and I was 4. So all these values are inserted in our formula, and after doing the calculations we can finally calculate the mode. So after doing all the calculations, final answer is 12.74. So 12.74 is the mode in this problem. So it is very simple to calculate mode for all types of problem, for dataset 1, dataset 2 and dataset 3. It is very simple. No complicated calculations are involved in this calculation. Okay, so just to summarize, for only observation type of data ज्यावेळेस फक्त observation दिले असतील, that is dataset 1. In that case, mode is most popular observation or that observation which is repeated most time. ज्यावेळेस तुम्हाला dataset 1 दिलेला असेल त्या केसमध्ये तुम्हाला फक्त हे ऑब्झर्व करायचं आहे की कोणती व्हॅल्यू किंवा कोणते ऑब्झर्वेशन हे जास्त वेळेस रिपीट झालेले. जे ऑब्झर्वेशन जी व्हॅल्यू जास्त वेळेस रिपीट झाली असेल that is our mode. In case of second type dataset which is observation and frequencies, त्या केसमध्ये आपल्याला ते ऑब्झर्वेशन पाहायचं आहे ज्या ऑब्झर्वेशनची फ्रिक्वेन्सी ही हायेस्ट असेल. The observation which has the highest frequency is mode. So for first and second it is very simple. We can find mode by just visual observation. Okay. For third, we have to use this formula L1 plus in bracket F1 minus F0, 2F1 divided by 2F1 minus F0 minus F2 into I. Here firstly for dataset 3, that is class and frequency, firstly we have to find out the model class. Model class is nothing but the class which has the highest frequency. Then lower limit of that model class is our L1. F1 is the frequency of our model class. F0 is the frequency of that class which is just previous to model class. Model classच्या आधीचा जो काय क्लास असेल त्याची जी काय फ्रिक्वेन्सी आहे that is F0. F2 is the frequency of class which is just after the model class. F2 म्हणजे जो मॉडेल क्लास आहे मॉडेल क्लासच्या जस्ट नंतरचा जो काय क्लास असेल त्याची फ्रिक्वेन्सी. अँड आय इज द क्लास इंटरवल ऑफ मॉडेल क्लास. जो मॉडेल क्लास असेल त्याची जी काय क्लास इंटरवल आहे दॅट इज युअर आय. So after getting all these values, we just have to use this formula to calculate the final mode. Okay, so this topic of mode is very simple. So in this way, we have covered all three important calculations of chapter that is measures of central tendency. We have seen how to calculate mean, how to calculate median And in today's lecture, we have seen how to calculate mode. जर तुम्ही आधीचे व्हिडिओज पाहिले नसतील, मीन कशा प्रकारे कॅल्क्युलेट करायचा आहे, मीडियन कशा प्रकारे कॅल्क्युलेट करायचं आहे, so I will recommend you to watch those videos. Second and third lecture of this lecture series on important calculation, which covered mean and median calculation respectively. And in addition, if you want to get clarity about the data set, what are the data sets, so I recommend you to watch the first lecture of this lecture series. In next lecture, we will see calculations of measures of dispersion. Okay, so